So hi guys, welcome to the podcast. Before we start, I usually like to get wine. So, do you drink? So, means I'm drinking alone, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna get you water. I'm gonna be drinking. This is Jamja. This is sweet Shiraz. My friend Tumi Akinola sent some bottles for the podcast. She runs a company called Ezinne Wines, and she's a wine connoisseur. So I'll be drinking on your behalf today, and I'm gonna pour you water because I'm not gonna force you to drink. But we've been having great conversations over wine because why not? I'm sure your water works. Hi guys, you're welcome back to the Our Creative podcast. My name is Foza and today I'm going to be speaking to two special friends of mine. You know what we do on this podcast? We speak to the best women in different areas in the creative sector, and I'm glad to have two of my amazing friends here today. And we're going to be speaking about, the entry point into the industry as a woman in the creative industry, and also balancing finances at different stages of your life as a woman in the industry. And with me today, I have my special friend. First of all, this is the only person that took me to Uyo, and I ate afang. Is it afang or atama at 7 a.m. with a bar on our wedding day? This is my special friend. I call her Zini. Her name is Ezinne. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
And I have this talented young woman that is so driven and resilient and has such an amazing head on her body. Welcome, Duni.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, the way we do, I introduce you personally, but then I give you the floor to showcase the beauty, the hard work, the resume, the CV, that you have. So, Zini, take it away. Introduce yourself to my lovely audience.
All right. Thank you for having me for that. So, I'm Ezinne Okuku, and about me. Oh, it's a multi-faced Ezinne.
I love it.
So, I'll start with the very simple one. I'm a human resource expert. I'm a finance expert. They say when you say you're an expert, well, whatever.
You're an expert. Own it.
So, once an amazing accountant now focused in human resources and, developing talents and enterprise businesses in the creative sector. I am passionate. They call me Mother Hen.
I love it. She is.
Because I believe in justice. I believe you can be whoever you want to be and succeed in life, regardless of gender, regardless of any status in life. I'm an MBA graduate. I have an MBA.
With a distinction.
And mother of amazing 2 children. Wife to an amazing man.
Wifey.
I'm a realist. I'm a very real person. Ezinne is just a cool, chill girl who can be crazy, and I have a massive love for colors. So that's me.
I love it. Yeah. I love that introduction. High five. You didn't disappoint me. Because she was trying to be humble. I don't want it. Duni?
Yeah, so basically for me, music was always in my head, and I was looking for like an outlet to express how I felt, and I didn't know what it was called at the time. I just know that I was hearing sounds in my head, and I spoke to somebody about it, and they're like, oh, I think you might have a knack for music production. But for me, after that realization, it took me more than like 6 years to start trying to make music because there was no representation. There was nobody that looked like me that was making music. So, I had to actually start learning how to produce from YouTube. And I remember before I even made a beat, I used to tell all my friends that I was a badass producer, I was the best producer.
I love that.
And they'd be like, I beg, show workings. And for me, I even remember the first beat I made, even though it was whack, but I just believed I was just great at it. And for me, the scripture that always worked in my life is calling things that be not as though they were, and it just helped me along that. So that's how I figured it out, you know.
That's very interesting in terms of representation, which is why I brought you here, because it's like,
Yeah.
I need you to inspire. I thought you would have said, oh, it was hard, but you just literally said, why not? Why not music production? Because so the question now, so that everybody can, was it hard learning music production?
Okay, so hard is relative, and it depends on perspective. For me at the time, it wasn't hard. Like learning it itself, like learning how to produce wasn't hard. It was the things that surrounded me learning music production that were hard. And this is sad to say, but disclaimer before I start sharing this story. Whatever I'm going to say, I don't want it to discourage anybody that wants to learn how to produce music. Because sometimes whenever you share the struggle of all the things you had to go through to learn what you had to do, so people are like, this is too much, I don't want it. Thing is, everything is hard. You just have to choose your hand, right? So now that I've said my disclaimer, so for me, one of the major issues I had was that, because I play a bunch of instruments, so I figured that if I'm going to be a good producer, I should know how to learn how to play instruments, right? So I started from church wanting to learn how to play the guitar. There was this bros in church that wanted to teach me how to play guitar. The condition was that, if I get low, I want to date you. So I didn't learn how to play guitar for like 2 years because this man was I was running away, right? I had to teach myself how to play the guitar on my own too. So I wanted to learn how to produce too. I remember that time I used to go to one man's studio to go and learn how to listen. It's why I went to go and meet my pastor. I said I wanted to sleep with my husband.
Damn.
So it's not as if learning the music production was hard. It was just the circumstances and people seeing a girl wanting to learn something and trying to take advantage of it. So that made my journey longer than usual. So I just got upset. I was like, come on, this is supposed to be YouTube now. And that's how I went to YouTube. Once I cracked YouTube like this, it wasn't hard anymore. So learning music production wasn't hard. It was the people around circumstances.
That's very interesting. Like, okay, so for like Ezinne, I know you do a bunch of things, right? My introduction to Ezinne is also like an amazing multitasking person. Like Ezinne can project manage. We work at the experience together backstage, and we work managing guests, and she's amazing at it. So she's such a nice personality. She teaches me to be nicer. But you mentioned that you've gone from you're an HR expert, accounting. Walk us through that journey and how you've gone through that in the creative industry. As Ezinne.
Okay. Started off as an accountant, but honestly, I got bored. That's the truth. I started with ACCA, second level, and I was like, it's debit, credit. I can't make decisions. And the industry where I found myself then was just, the basic thing. I really wanted to go into forensic auditing. But then I noticed in Nigeria, it wasn't really a big deal. Tried KPMG route, PwC and everything. I just got bored. That's the truth. And I looked at the people around me. I had a great opportunity where the HR then, where I was working, was on mat leave. And she looked at me and she's like, you're always fighting for everybody. You're always speaking up. You're always looking for policies to make things better. You're always looking for an opportunity to serve. Would you like to help me out? I'm going on maternity leave and nobody's in the team. Everybody has jackpot. I was like, okay, all right, let's see how it goes. I did HR in school and everything. I started taking up courses. Lo and behold, she came back and she was like, do you want to move to my unit? Everybody's talking amazing things about you. You're the people's person. I'm like, I'm not, That was how the HR journey started. I still continued with the accounting, but I had to then move a step up because I was surrounded by amazing people who were in the tech industry. My husband, his friends, everybody, tech industry. And then I started hearing blockchain. I was like, okay, everybody is doing the same thing in accounting, in HR. Where can I play that is a niche? I need to play in a unique space. So I started learning about, blockchain technology, and happily, I got an opportunity to become the head of treasury for a company. And that was how I went into finance for tech. Now, HR for tech, after the first opportunity, I quit my job. It was funny. I came a step down because I really needed to understand what is it in HR and how can I make it a unique space to play in. I quit my job. I took a major pay cut, like major pay cut. In short, it was practically a free job I did, but it was, I decided to do it remote because I just had my baby then, and I was doing my MBA at the same time. So school, baby, and work, new job. I started learning about HR policies, performance management, and everything. And I knew, okay, the space where I'm playing in is still new, you know, everybody talking crypto and all of that. How can I then bring in my basic accounting knowledge, my people management skill to play in this space? I became the head of people and treasury at the same time, and it was a whole lot of work. I won't lie to you. I like what you said, choose your hard, because everything is hard. From there, moved into fully the creative space 2 years ago, where someone called me and was like, I like what I saw at the experience. Would you like to work with me? And I'm like, okay, all right. I've been trying to set up my own company, but this entrepreneurship thing is not easy. It's hard.
It's not easy.
I tried setting up a consulting firm, and everybody was looking at where to rip, like, how can I rip up a bandage? How can I take this? How can I take this from you? And nobody was willing to give. So I didn't have the good foundation to start. So I was like, you know what, we'll just keep rocking this 9-to-5 remote work thing and everything. So when I got that call, and the person was like, I saw what you did at the experience. I really, really want to work with you. And I got the opportunity, started. When I got in, I saw that the creative space was lacking management, you know, people to speak up, people to find the right talent and connect you to the right opportunity. So that was just how I started. And it's been hard work, but amazing since then.
It's amazing because when I started out my journey, I went straight into entrepreneurship, like straight out of school.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. Someone asked me last year when I took a career break that, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know, and I'm not ready to think about it because entrepreneurship is
work.
Is a different kettle of fish. When I see people say, oh, 9-to-5 is the salary they pay you to hold you your dream job, I'm like, You don't know what entrepreneurship is saying, but I believe one of the things that allowed me, apart from what you just said in terms of like, you know, I read this book, Blue Ocean Strategy, where they tell you like, in that Red Sea, you find that spot where you can play in. And that's what I did with entertainment law, found that spot, you know, became what I am today. But part of the decisions, part of the things that led to that, some people will say, I was privileged because financially I was able to do that. In my opinion, I didn't think I was privileged because I just knew that, all right, but then I just knew that I was not going to get hungry because I would find food to eat somehow. And I told God when I was going into this, I said, you're the one that gave me this vision. And there's this Bible text I read and it said, when Jacob told the Lord that if you give me bread to eat and you give me shelter, send me wherever. And that was what I told God. And you know, kudos to my guy up there. I've not had cause to be hungry. You know, even when it was like really bad, someone showed up at some point. And I wrote in my book, I said like, even in law school where it was really crazy, God sent 3 boys that we used to read together. Matthew, Tola, and Marvin. They used to sort all my food. Wow. They used to like breakfast. Ace, you don't chop. Let's go and eat. Let's go and... For me, they were just like, oh, Foza is our guy, let's go and... But I never really used to pay for food because of them, you know, and God, you know, just sorted me. But now that I'm sitting from this standpoint, I believe that I also had the privilege of God. Hence why I could take that decision to say, I'm not going to use my law degree to go into, because I could have gotten an oil and gas job. I could have used my connection to, you know. So for me, it was just like, God has told me to do this thing. I'm going to go and do it. And I know I'll be successful. It's going to take me 10 years. I'd given myself 10 years. I was going to go and do it and I'll come out successful. So people argue that that's privilege that informed that because financial provision, how are you going to sort it out? So going into, you just mentioned that you took a pay cut, right? And finance is such a huge thing in the creative industry, right? You mentioned you took a pay cut. How did you manage because now you are a unit with someone else and you also had a baby. How?
Okay. Thank you. That's an important question. So before you decide to leave a job or take a pay cut, be sure you have a good reservoir. That was what I had. Before then, I had been saving, investing. I was opportuned to invest in foreign currency. That was a good decision I made earlier in my life. So I could take that pay cut. I remember I was paying for MBA as well.
Yeah.
So I could take that pay cut to learn. So that was my own sacrifice. What do I have to do to learn? Because I want to come out, in your word, as a badass. I want to come out informed. I want to come out ready for the market. So I took the pay cut just to learn.
Wow.
And after that, I was paid. I made sure I earned back the days of,
Days of toiling.
the days of toiling.
That's
I
amazing.
charged well.
That's amazing because, one of the things that we also don't really do in the creative industries is invest in ourselves. We invest in every other thing, in the show, in the bling bling, in the house, in the car, but not in self-improvement. Duni, I know you're independent. You're an independent artist, and we had a conversation recently where you were just like, I don't like debt. Yeah, you were just like, I'm scared of advance. I don't want debt.
Oh my God.
How have you been surviving as an independent artist in the industry, especially as a woman? Because we have female, creatives have lesser opportunities for investment, especially in music. So how have you been surviving?
Thank you very much for that question. Because even I don't know how I have been surviving. I guess it's just, how would I say it? Putting my money where my mouth is and taking the risk on myself. Because, when I made that post about not liking advance, you told me that there's good deaths and there's bad deaths, yeah? Obviously, I've accepted an advance at some points. But the thing is, for me, I think it's always like knowing when to and when not to. Do you need this? Obviously, some people will just take advance and go and buy Benz.
Yep.
So for me, before I accept any money, it's like, do you actually need this? Can you afford it on your own? If I can pay for it on my own, I'd rather pay for it on my own and then test it. Oftentimes some people will be like, that's not a good decision as a business. So it's okay for you to use another person's money to pay for it. But ownership is also very important to me as a musician, because Foza might not remember this, but we had a conversation in 2018. And Foza told me something that stuck with me for a long time. She said, you're going to be very rich in publishing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
She said, you're going to be very rich in publishing. So for me, I asked myself, why did she say that? Then I realized that, okay, you have something going for you. Because if I look at my split sheet, a lot of times, I have like over 50% of the split. So I'm like, okay, if I put in the work and market it by myself and still maintain ownership, but keep building my catalog, that means if I give myself 10 years, what I've been able to build so far, it would make sense. So now it's not been easy pushing on my own, but because of where I'm going to, it makes it a little more bearable for me to be able to push, right? So the ginger for independence, is still there from Foza's voice from 6 years ago.
This is very interesting because vision is also an important part in your financial health, right? It's like you know your short-term goals, you know the long-term goals, you know how to like adjust it. But one of the things like I've experienced as a creative stakeholder, not even as the creative, is because we rely a lot on 5%, 10% of whatever the creatives make. Now, because you also have so much passion for the industry, you find yourself not being financially wise in terms of investment. So you get a 10%, but because the whole community is struggling, the 10% goes back into like the business around, maybe it's to buy food for this person or to rent the house or to do this, that even you as a stakeholder, you wake up one morning and you just realize that, damn, I've done 8 years.
Nothing.
And there's nothing to like show for it. My epiphany came 3 years ago when I woke up and I was just like, my mates are buying houses. My mates are like probably married with children. I'm not rushing myself, but it's just like, okay, what is the financial, then I looked at my portfolio and I just saw that, first those, all your investments is inside just the creative sector, right? And I started taking like, okay, so what's this finance about? How do I create an investment portfolio? How do I diversify? Ezinne, talk to us about like if a creative that is at the stage of earning 1 million in profit every year and a creative stakeholder that is currently at the stage of 50 million every year as a woman, like how would you just drop and say, okay, this is how to do your investment portfolio just from this standpoint because I've interacted with you guys. Just give us a small tip. I know normally we're supposed to pay, but just help us.
Yes.
All right. First of all, disclaimer. I like to put a disclaimer. This is not an investment advice.
It's not an investment advice.
Okay, I'm going to take it from a personal point of view. I'm not going to go professional now. My advice, first of all, is I know this is conflicting for the National Reserve, but then look inward. I'd advise anybody first to, no, not advice, I'm saying, or my personal experience is I invested in dollars. My investments were in dollars. My investments were in crypto. Now, why did I choose to do that? I had an option of, investing in Naira and everything. And I also invested in businesses. So diversification is very important. It's paramount. I like what you said. Oh, you noticed all your money was in creative. Look around you. Where can I put my money? Now, the beautiful thing is we're in an open economy where information is everywhere. There's information about investment in agriculture. There's information about investing in tech. There's information in logistics. So it doesn't have to be just your business. When they say you're putting all your eggs in one basket, look for your neighbor's basket. Be sure that neighbor is, viable first. The neighbor is profitable as well. And also do a lot of research. Research is important. It will shock you that when you type, you would see a lot of information. Now you sift through, what do I need to do? Well, it's important to diversify. That's the major thing. And I tell people, if you can't even do anything, if you're a lazy investor, just find a way to keep money back, plow money back. Let's even take an example. Let's take the Naira dollar situation between January and today. If you bought dollar in January, you've made how much today? Just think about it. Then look at agriculture. Now we are moving from the subsistence farming to commercial, There are so many companies doing this, farm banking and the likes. You can put your small 50K, your small 100K, your small 200K there. And another thing is discipline. So diversification, discipline. You have to be disciplined enough to say, I'm putting aside this money. Now, don't invest your saving. That's an advice again. Do not invest your saving. Invest the bit There's what you call, I don't know if you've listened to your rich life, your rich money life, Try and put aside your saving. It's important to live. So put money that you need to live and just be a baby girl. Don't deny yourself that, because you will still put your hand in that investment fund if you don't do this. Be real with yourself. How much do I need to be a baby girl? Out of this 100%, how much do I think I can starve myself? So invest, put your hand in that fund and invest. So diversify, be disciplined, and then do a lot of research. Open yourself to learning. Open yourself to listening. Listening is very important in finance, because these opportunities come like this. You hear, FG bond is up. There's always an opportunity. There's an expiry date to every investment. So if you don't catch it at that point, it's gone. If you were supposed to buy dollar yesterday and you were still waiting, it's expired already. You have to buy in the new rate. So listen, diversify, And of course, be disciplined. I think this would help you. So find any decision you want to go, stocks, crypto, business investments and the likes. Just pay attention to these 3 things. I think they would help.
You know that this is very interesting because last year, one of the decisions I made was I was like, no, I'm going to stop going out unnecessarily.
Yeah, you said that.
Because it's just like, everybody will be like, oh, Foza, I have a listening party. Oh, Foza, and I'll go. And I've noticed that every time I go out, I spend at least 5K tipping the guys that park. And I said to myself, okay, you know what? Before I spend, every time I refuse to go out, and I look at it, I say, okay, there's an extra 5K. I move it to, I have this investment app that I downloaded, and I just move it there. And I just started buying Transcorp shares, or buy 5K, buy this one. The 5K is like money that I literally would give to give it. I promise you, I did that for a whole year. In December, I realized I saved 300K.
Imagine.
The Transcorp shares, thank you, Transcorp, moved up by almost 200%.
Imagine.
And when I looked at it, I was just like, oh, if I've been doing this for like 5 years.
You did, girl.
And the first thing was like, I had to remove my mind from, because music money is interesting. You can't do one deal today. You just see me back on.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So when I see increase by 120 naira, I said, what's going on here?
Compound interest. Compound interest.
So it's like, I that discipline is very important because I had to remove my mind from looking at it like this money is small or, like whatever. But like, in terms of just like managing your own portfolio, what have you done differently that you feel like, because you're in an industry where you have to show, there's the pressure to show. How has that pressure affected you and your finance?
I think another very important thing to note before I continue is personality also matters a lot. From my story, it should be obvious a little bit that what is normal is not what appeals to me or what everybody does. So you see the pressure in the industry to show, I've never felt it for once.
And that's legit.
Yeah, like right now I don't have a car because I don't need a car because oftentimes I'm always in my house making music. So before I make decision to like spend, I'll just ask, do you actually need this thing or is it your ego that is asking you for it? Because, the other thing they will tell you in the industry is that if you go on a session with Benz now and you say that your charge is $30,000, they will say, okay, of course, the fact that you have a Benz, you are worth it. But I also realized that the quality of your work also should be able to speak enough for you to be able to charge what you deserve to charge. So personally, you see the pressure from the industry, I don't feel it. And I think it's a personality thing. Like, I just don't care. If anything I've learned so far is that most of the money, I put it back into the business. And that's why I like this conversation, because now that people have been saying, I'm like, it's true. All my money is actually in creative space. So now this is my own eureka moment, this conversation, because I feel like, if you don't mind, I'd like to have a conversation after this one. I need to diversify.
Yeah, for me, it was just, and I was very deliberate about this topic because when I woke up to it, and it's not just me. When I asked my mentors that like we're on this thing, I realized that we were all in that same problem, especially because it's not like we're spending money on buying house, like it's the passion that we have for the industry is just like you just keep putting money into places where instead of you taking care of yourself and understanding that, okay, it's time to, and the times where we now decide that we want to take care of ourselves, then the people they start getting upset. Oh, so one artist told me that he has not shot video, I went to buy Benz. And in my mind, before I bought that Benz, I remember I had a conversation with my mom, and she said, you need to reward yourself. She said, you are working too hard and you are not rewarding yourself. This would have repercussions. That, like she literally said, and I said, and I bought that because it was a way for me to remember my dad, because that's the kind of model car that he loved. And my mom was just like, oh my God, I just remembered your dad with this car. And that's why I bought it, because it was just like, and I was like, I enjoyed the car. It made me, there were days where things were hard and I'll just be like, you know what, I'll just be in my car and listen to the music. So finance is very important in the industry. And I like that you said vision. I also like the investment diversity, you mentioned. One thing I wanted us to pick in terms is how to raise money. You're in gender inclusion, you work with grants and stuff. How have you been able to raise money so far, apart from just offering the service? And you would tell me, what are the other places you feel like creatives should look at, to raise money?
Apart from having because my brand is very multifaceted, so I have not just one stream of income, because I double as a songwriter, music producer, and apart from also the conventional producing for artists, also make music for brands, music for ads. So for me, just realizing that if you're going to make more money to fund yourself and fund this music, you cannot rely on streaming alone, and you cannot rely on just producing for artists alone. I realized what the place of producing for artists is for, which is to build the catalog. But if you are looking for the money, is in sync. So I focused on all the other parts that I feel like, okay, this will give me more money, and I worked hard towards that. And that's how I've been able to raise the money on my own, just thinking outside the box.
I love that. What about you, Ezinne?
Okay, so where do creatives find money? It's funny how conventional financial institutions haven't come around to being able to give loan and financial support to creatives, because that's a major topic that has to come into the ecosystem. So I like what you said. For me, usually my advice is try to sell the same product across different platforms. Same product, different platforms. So let me take Nas as an example. He's a successful brand, and what did he start doing? He started streaming. Although he's streaming games, but he's streaming with his own beats, his own content, and he's a big star on YouTube. So same product across different platforms. Think about that. Another thing is, what else can you do? I like what she said. She's a songwriter. She's also an artist, and she's an instrumentalist. She produces for different bands. It would amaze you that your beats can be used on a commercial ad as much as it can be used on your own personal track. So what else can you do? Who else can you sell to? Ponder upon these things. Sell on different platforms. Not necessarily, I'm not saying YouTube, I'm not saying Spotify, and
outside the
just
book.
Think of outside the book. Who else can I sell to? And then what platforms can I take my product to? Then talking about grants and support investments, it's also interesting to know that there are so many private entities who are interested in contributing, private and public entities who are interested in supporting the creative economy. So look out for governments, parastatals, look out for international funds available. Also look out for businesses that are interested in investing in the creative, outputs, because they have a big knack for it, but then they are not in the open. So again, research and get to talk to people who are in that space, not in the creative space, in the finance space. Because creatives will not want to give you that information, but it's people in the finance space who will be happy to say, oh, I have this information, or this government has this grant, or this business has this. And there are so many foundations as well, INGOs, that are interested in creatives now, animation, post-production, music, dance, songwriting, so much. So research a bit, that would help. So I think we should help.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for turning up today. And just to add to grants, research, it's if you don't look at it, if you don't look for it, you won't find it. Right, and I know that the problem with grants is that you will never want to fill forms because the forms can be like this high. But the people, that's why, to weed out the unnecessary people. But make sure like this 2024, you find the grants, you apply for the grants, you sit down and you do it. And I believe that if you cast out like 100, you get like at least one from it, And thank you so much, guys. I enjoyed this conversation. I don't know if you enjoyed this conversation.
Join community.
Yes, join communities. And I'm just going to say, like, just tell us what's next for you guys, and we'll just wrap up. Like, Zine.
I'll still say this word. I know some bodies say not to, but don't grieve for anybody, because I think that tagline is beyond just the word. Ginger yourself from within. Definitely. She said she gave herself 10 years. I gave myself same. Once you do the work, trust me, the Bible wasn't joking when they say heaven reward those who work. So put in the work, definitely something will come out. But don't stay too long in the dream section. Come out. To shock you who needs your talents and who would pay you for it. That's very important. And try to put a price tag. Most times creatives, we are willing to do things for free. Those days have passed. Try to put a price tag, no matter how small, because to make people take you serious. Don't overshoot it, but try to put a price tag. So that's it. What's next for me? I'll keep giving back. That's it. I'll keep giving back.
Mother.
Stop it. I'll keep giving back. Yeah.
Dunes.
So what's next for me? So my plan this year is to just work harder than I did last year. And I figured out some loopholes and things I could do better. So I'm trying to be better, be a better version of myself, make better music, make better money, which means no more naira, more dollars.
Or else they should put your phone on DNT.
Yes, you're not bringing dollars, don't call me. So basically, and be happy, sleep more. And even though pressure is good and it brings out the diamond inside you, but sometimes it's okay.
Be a baby girl. Very important.
Yeah, and live life.
I love that. And I just want to say that I'm incredibly proud of you.
Thank you.
And I still maintain my stance that you're going to be extremely rich. I see into the future, and I'm so glad that you're sticking to your guns and doing the work. And my amazing Zini baby, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're killing it, and you've just been amazing. And you know how we do this now. You know how we do this. So this is how I sign out. I tell you, I just say, like, we toast and we pick cups up and we cheers to the future, which is female. So I said the future is female. Yeah. Cheers. Definitely. So let's sign out.
Okay.
Let's go. So to the future, which is female. Future is female.
Very female.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next episode. Toodles.
Hi guys, my name is Duni. I'm a singer, songwriter, and music producer, and I was just on her creative journey. Make sure you catch it and enjoy.
Hi guys, my name is Ezinne Okuku. I'm a management consultant focused on the creative and tech. I just finished an amazing session with her creative journey. Please watch out and enjoy.